this is going to look.
Good morning, this is David from NW Trucking Academy. We're going to go over a little bit of the pre-trip this morning with a couple guys, and I have permission from you guys to film this.
Yes, you do.
You're not gonna.
My name is Carl.
My name
Okay,
is Riley.
that's Carl. Okay.
Alright.
All right, let's get started. Go ahead.
As we approach the vehicle and we check underneath to see if there's any visible leaks of coolant and oil, follow me over here to the passenger side. What you're going to see here is we have our timing belt and our alternator. Our alternator is secured with tight nuts and bolts right here, right in here, and these are my wires. They're not cut, torn, burnt, or frayed of any sort. My timing belt is secured and tight and is between the proper tension of 1/2 and 3/4 inch play, and the condition it's in is not cut, torn, ripped, or frayed. Follow me to the driver's side. Over here we have our coolant reservoir. The coolant reservoir is not cracked, damaged, or broken, or leaking, and the cap is secure, and the hoses are not cut, torn, frayed, or ripped, and are secured by a tight clamp, and the fluid levels between add and pull. Power steering fluid. The power steering fluid is secured with tight nuts and bolts and is not cracked, damaged, broken, or leaking. Along with the coolant reservoir, it's not leaking. The hoses underneath are secured with a tight clamp, and the hoses are not ripped, torn, or frayed of any sort. My air compressor is not cracked, damaged, or broken, and is secured with tight nuts and bolts. Along with the hoses are secured with tight nuts and bolts. With the oil, you take the dipstick out, wipe it off with a paper towel, put it back in, take it right back out, and make sure it's between the add and pull position. Steering box. My steering box is not cracked, damaged, or broken, and is secured with tight nuts and bolts. My shock absorber is not cracked, damaged, or broken, or twisted, and is not leaking, and is secured with tight nuts and bolts. Same thing with my steering box is not leaking as well, don't forget that. My pitman arm is secured with tight nuts and bolts and is not cracked, damaged, broken, or twisted. My drag link is not cracked, damaged, broken, or twisted, and is secured with clevis and cotter pins. And my spring hanger is secured with tight nuts and bolts right down here. Spring hanger is right down here, is not cracked, damaged, or broken, and is secured with tight nuts and bolts. My leaf springs are right here, and they're not cracked, damaged, or broken, or twisted, and are secured with tight U-bolts, and the bolts are right underneath here, and those are tight and secure. My air chamber is right here, and the hose on top of it is secured with tight nuts and bolts, and there's no visible air leaks of any sort. There is no holes, and it's secured with tight nuts and bolts. My slack adjuster and push rod are both right here. Here's my push rod right here, and my slack adjuster is right here, and they're secured with a tight clevis and cotter pin. And my slack adjuster is at the 90-degree angle next to the push rod, and with the brakes released, I should see no more than a 1-inch pull with the brakes released on my slack adjuster. Moving on to the tire, we got the steering tire right here, and you want this to be no less than 4/32 of an inch in tread depth, and there's no visible cuts or rips, and it's not bulging, and it's properly inflated to the proper air pressure when I checked with the gauge. And my rear tires are at 2/32 of an inch in tread depth. Moving on to my brake drums and lining. My brake drums and lining, which would be, my brake drums are here, and the lining's right in here. And my lining is at no less than 1/4 inch lining, and there's no cracks, and it's not broken. And my drums are free of illegal welds and are secured with tight nuts and bolts. Moving on to my wheel. My wheel is not cracked, damaged, or broken, and is free of any illegal welds. And my lug nuts next are secured, and none are missing, and I have no rust lines on them, so that means they're securely tight. My hub and axle seal. My axle seal is not leaking. My hub is between the add and pull position, and and it's securely tight. Moving on to our door. Our mirror here is secured with tight nuts and bolts, and you can shake it just to make sure it is. And the mirror itself, the condition of the mirror is not cracked or broken. Moving on to the door. As you can see, I can open the door with ease and close it with ease, and that means it's functioning properly, and the condition is it's not cracked or broken. The windows are not cracked or broken, and it's secured with tight nuts and bolts by the hinges.
Okay, I think we're going to stop here. That'll be it for the day, and we'll do a little bit more tomorrow.
All right.
So you get a chance tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody. Make sure you guys follow. Say you like it if you do. If you don't, well, you don't. Have a good day. Bye.